Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Builder Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. It's part 73 today and we are back for probably two of our biggest games of the season. And two games I didn't think we'd be introducing at the start of this. Firstly, in a second knockout round at the Europa Conference, we play our second leg against Galatasaray. We head to Turkey, pretty much like our last lockout game against St Gallen, with the tie on the knife edge. It's 1-1 after the home leg. One less away goal to overturn, but against stronger opposition, we were lucky to get the draw, and I don't know if we'll be as fortunate away from home. But then, one of the most bizarre games of the series, we've got the SPFL Trust Trophy final against Port Vale. They've dropped down to the English National League and are going to be facing us in that one. And it really is a pretty evenly matched game, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out. We've got a massive title running as well, but it doesn't look like we're going to slip up. TNS haven't either, in fairness. They're only 5 points behind. And let's be honest, since the moment we were 2 points behind them, the only thing that's changed is that we've beaten them 3 times. If you take that out of it, TNS have been the most consistent side against the other teams in the league this season. And that really is massive progress for them. They've got a good side and all of the players are contracted till at least the end of next season. So I'm hoping in Europe next year they might be able to spring a surprise. So there is still a slim chance they could win it, but I think now we found our form, we found our defensive solidity, and it doesn't look like we're going to drop points. If we go out of Europe today as well, and if we beat TNS in the next league game, I think it's pretty much over. But of course, if TNS win that one, we might have to come back quite quickly. So if you're looking forward to all of that, a very action-packed episode, please do put a thumbs up on it. We've got a youth intake as well, perhaps some stars for the future. If you want to find out and stay up to date with the series, please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. I feel we're finally on the cusp of building the nation now, and TNS are the side that are going to help us with that. You can catch up with all the playlists in the eye above. A massive thank you for your support as always. And in the description below, there's a link to the Twitch channel which I've just set up. And we'll have our first live stream from there over the next week or so. But a massive thank you for your continued support as we start today by looking at the 3 games we've played off camera. So the 2 league games have been pretty comprehensive in truth. A 2-0 win at home to Barrytown United. Salem Alzabad and Max Dean with the goals there. A 1-1 draw at home to Galatasaray in the first leg. An own goal saved us from the keeper. We weren't particularly great aside from that. Not the biggest attendance as well, which I found quite ironic. Away at Landadno though, we did win 4-0. It was a really good display. Banks off the bench got a goal. Glatzel got a brace and Cannell got one too. A little injury for Josh Benson though, so something else for us to be aware of. Having said that, we're in this one in good form, just Archie Woods missing out with yet another suspension. And in the SPFL Trust Trophy final, the same applies to Daniel Williams. So we are missing a key player from the midfield in each of those games. But the league games will be back to normal, and that's crucial for TNS. If we have a look at the dynamics, everything's looking very good still. We've got the boys back on side, and we're getting people playing well. But the main news since the last episode is the youth intake. These are all the boys that haven't been signed up. I did wonder if Ed McMinamy is related to the Aberystwyth player a few years earlier. Doesn't look like it. There's nothing to suggest he is. Aside from that though, not much quality there. But given the fact that Amari Morgan-Smith said this might be a quality generation, a golden generation even, if we have a look at the overview, in truth it's a little disappointing. The best player in the intake is Tony McLaughlin, who looks good here. 1.5 star ability, 3.5 potential striker. Look at his finishing attribute. 3. 3 for finishing. Poor personality, not great technically anyway. I think what we're going to do is work on training him as a winger. Because as a right winger, he's quick, he's agile, he's good on the ball dribbling, he's got a good first touch, and he's decent moving off the ball. But in no way, shape or form whatsoever is he a good centre forward. So how he's got 1.5 star ability there, I'm not quite sure. Although he's been rated as that as a winger. To striker, he's only got 1 star. So in fact, we'll train him as a winger, and he'll be moving on when he reaches 17 or 18. If we have a look at the other ones, Kian Burgess and Warren Bell have 3-star potential. Warren Bell is a young midfielder, but not really that good. He's only 15, so we'll give him a little bit of leeway, but I don't think he's going to become anything special. And the same really applies to Kian Burgess, who's a 15-year-old right back. Not the greatest physically, which will improve, but technically, you'd expect to have that base of skills. He has got a good personality, so he probably will improve in training. But really, after what we'd seen in the messages, it was such a disappointing intake. There are a few others with 3-star potential, so Ian White's a young winger. He's okay, but again, a poor personality. Harry Morgan, a goalkeeper. I'd argue he's the pick of the bunch, but again, Poor positioning, poor anticipation, not the best in the air. Carl Lacey is a number 10, but can't really pass and hasn't got the other key attributes. And in truth, that's just about it. We've not really had a good intake this year. It's probably been our most disappointing one for a few. So no following Tom Jones after last year. There's 5 or 6 that we've promoted over the last 2 seasons. There's not going to be one out of this year's intake. I am trying to get Aaron Gibbons a new club in the summer. He's got a good personality, but he's a winger and he'll never make it here as a result. But he could be a good player in the Welsh Premier League. So we'll see what happens with him. But otherwise, a really disappointing intake. On the pitch, things starting to improve. Off it, they're starting to go wrong. So let's go and get into the first of today's 2 games. We expect to go out at Galatasaray as we head to Turkey in the Europa Conference. But again, we've reached consistency. The last 16, and we're just trying to build that coefficient. We need TNS to help us next year, but we could yet produce a miracle today. So let's go and get into it and pick our lineup for our first match in this big double header. And this is what we've gone for. So, we face Galatasaray away from home. We've actually got a bit less commitment towards the end of the season than we normally have. We're out of the Welsh Cup. We're probably not going to go any further in this. And the SPFL Trust Trophy final is a couple of weeks earlier, before the international break. So actually, if we get towards the end of the season, we've only got 4 league games if we go out of this. So let's see the team we've picked. Of course, we mentioned last episode that Brooks and Weaver will be staying with us next year. They both start today. Regardless of how he plays, Williams will get 90 minutes because he's ineligible at the weekend due to suspension. And Harvey Lewid, the same, he'll get 90 minutes because Woods will be back at the weekend. But our lineup includes George Wickens in goal, just starting to improve his form again. Hampson and Weaver are the fullbacks with Badebo and Alzabad at centre-half. Lewid, Williams, Brooks and Cottrell the midfield 4 in a diamond. And Joe Duffy and Max Dean, 71 goals between them now. They continue up front for this big European match. Not as strong a bench as we'd have normally. Of course, we lost Maguire in January. Of course, we've got the suspension as well in holding midfielder Woods. So a couple short of what our first choice would be, but still a lot of quality there. So let's go and get into it. A big game in Turkey. We're underdogs, but we did the same against St Gallen. Let's see if we can do it again tonight. As you can see, it is a very good Galatasaray team. Just to pick out a couple of the attacking stars, Timothy Weir alongside Wesley, who's currently at Aston Villa, of course. He scored the goal in the first leg. Likes of Josh Brownhill on the bench, a good recognisable name from the Premier League. It's a good football team. We'll be hoping for another own goal from the keeper, but it was a very strange goal and it probably won't happen again. We're not going to put any pressure on the lads because this is a big game and we don't expect much. But let's see if we can get a shock in the first half. If we can get those 2 away goals, they'll have to score 3. So let's just throw everything at them and hope we can get it. Through the tunnel interview we go, into the first half. And another big crowd, more Bangor fans travelling to Turkey. And they've matched us up with a narrow diamond. So hopefully that won't stifle our threat. And with just 90 seconds on the clock, we're back with a corner for Bangor City. It's headed away as far as Brooks. But I did not expect to see us on the front foot this quickly. We said we'd try and throw it at them to start. As Dean knocks down for Cottrell. Into Duffy. I thought he might have been offside, but the flag didn't go up. And in the end, the keeper makes a wonderful save. First effort to Bangor City. And if we can create 3 or 4 of those, I fancy us to score a couple of away goals. Galatasaray yet to have a shot on target, but they don't really care. If they draw 0-0, they're through. So the onus is on us to really do something. But the start to the game, the performance, has been absolutely excellent. Though Galatasaray back with a throw on the right, 25 minutes on the clock. Wesley plays a 1-2 with Nanu, the fullback, into Fayaz, Farrick in midfield. Inside to Cottrell, who intercepts. Williams knocks it up. Duffy tries to flick on and Opoku intercepts. The goalkeeper gets their first big clearance down the left and Casasola picks it up to Palumbu. He's the star player in midfield, according to our assistant. It's switched into Fayez and wide to Nanu. We've been caught a bit there and they've got the wide overload. And a cross into Wesley. It's pinpoint, but it's headed wide by the former target man of Villa. Thankfully, it remains 0-0, but a first threat there from the hosts. And with 5 minutes to the break, we're still looking for that goal. We're still looking for that great chance. As Brook gets it to Weaver on the left. The Welsh under-21 international beats the fullback, but eventually Pineda comes out with the ball. Nanu finds Fayaz, who we've had a warning to close down. Plays down the line to Farrick. We don't want to really get caught out and have the press beaten, because if they've got the man over, they've got the quality to beat us. Now Casasola's forced backwards. They're chipping it into midfield and Brooks has nicked it. The 2 are on here. He's going alone instead though. Ian Brooks in the box. And a shot straight at the keeper. It wasn't the best effort. And really he left it too late to play the pass, so he had to shoot as it happened. Dean flicks it down from the next one, but Casasola picks it up. They're good in possession, Galatasaray, but they've got a mistake in them. That isn't though, that's a brilliant through ball. And Vrook puts the shot straight at Wickens. Definitely should have been 1-0 to Galatasaray there. It was a great chance on the stroke of half time. But I'd say it's still all to play for here. We're going to tell the lads they've been unlucky. We're going to get them fired up for the second half. They're motivated. They've got something in them. And if we can just nick a goal, we'll really scare the hosts. But immediately, after 1 minute in the second half, we're back for the throw-in for Galatasaray. Down by the corner flag. It's cleared by Weaver, only as far as Casasola. And that is a wonderful strike. This is what we said. We can compete with these sides. We can put them on the back foot. But they've got individual brilliance. And that's what we haven't quite got yet. So unfortunately, we do fall behind. But in truth, it doesn't really change the complexion for us. If we don't score, we're still out. If we score 1, we're in extra time rather than going through. And if we score 2, we've still got to force 3 out of them. As Hampson gets it back to Williams. Plays a 1-2. Can we get the delivery in? We can't. It's cleared downfield. Alzabad wins a crucial header though. Finds Williams. Man over on the left. Tries to play the reverse ball instead. But it's cleared away as far as Hampson. Lewid plays a 1-2. In the centre circle. Gets it wide to Weaver on the left. Beats his man. Plays Duffy in. 2 in the middle if he can find them. Cuts it back to the edge. It's headed away by Palumbu. We just can't break them down. We can't find that final product. Weaver again left side of the box. Into Williams. That's the ball we needed. But why are we going to VAR? What's happened here? Did Cottrell stray offside? He wasn't involved, was he? It's been called back for offside. I don't even know where Cottrell was. Was he in the keeper's eye line maybe? I don't know. But that seems incredibly harsh. Galatasaray keep their 1-0 lead. And VAR has come to the Turkish side's rescue. Not been the best second half from us so far. I'll think about a change. Cottrell's been poor. Do you know what? Let's go and do what the assistant said. We'll bring Glatzel on for Dean. Duffy will switch sides. But also, I'm going to give the young star a chance. Tom Jones is 16 years of age, but he is one of our best players very quickly. And he's going to come on for Ben Cottrell for the final half an hour. And fingers crossed, he can sneak an opportunity for us. We'll encourage the lads. They're a little downhearted for some reason. We'll try and drop to balanced and just see if we can catch them on the counter. Because the last thing we want to do is concede a second. As Hampson throws in from the right, an advanced position. Plays a 1-2 with Duffy. Gets to the byline. It's cleared away from the cross though. And Williams brings it back down. Into Alzabad. Williams plays a 1-2 with Lewid. Into Brooks. To Duffy. He's got 2 running off him. Jones is one of them. Lovely ball to Hampson on the byline. In towards Glatzel. And the keeper gets there first. Oh, that's a shame. It was a really good chance in truth. The keeper with a long kick forward, but Dabo heads away to Brooks. Weaver picks it up left-hand side. Down the line to Glatzel. Glatzel again to Brooks. He's going to switch it to Weaver. Chance to cross, but he goes back to Brooks, the safe option instead. Into Harvey Lewid, who's got space. Finds Williams. Man over in Tom Jones. Into Duffy. Brilliant pass. And a good save by the keeper. Do you know what I'm going to do? It's an unusual change because he's the best rated defender. I'm going to switch Hampson for Hankin. Just because for all of Hankin's flaws, he loves the club, he's a youth academy player, and he's also a better crosser of the ball. So let's see if he can deliver here as Williams puts the corner in. Emre heads away as far as Harvey Lewid, and another chance goes begging. 15 minutes to go, and we've got to go and get forward now. We're going to demand a bit more as we've got to throw in with Alzabad. Weaver's off for treatment. Lewid's lost it, and we don't want the man over on the counter here. Lewid makes the foul. He's already on a yellow, and that was a very stupid thing to do. The final change has been made, so now we're down to 10. And unfortunately, we can probably kiss goodbye to our Europa Conference hopes, because even if we do score, we're not going to get a second, and in extra time, we haven't got the legs. So Jones switches into central midfield, Williams will go into the holding role, and unfortunately, as we change him to a playmaker, I think that's tie over. We've put up a great fight against the Turks here, but it's not enough. 5 minutes to go, we've got a goal kick with Wickens. Plays out to Alzabad short. Out to the right-hand side to Jack Hankin. If we could nick a goal here, it'd be incredible. But extra time is probably the last thing we want, looking ahead to the weekends. We've got a cup final in 3 days' time, and I don't want to have to put the reserves out. As Alzabad comes out from defence to Hankin. 2 in the middle. He's running down the line, though. Nothing's going to stop him here, apart from one of the worst passes I've ever seen. It's a long through ball to Hassan. That will be tie over. No, it deflects off Badabo. Recovers well. And it deflects just wide of the post for a corner. A really bizarre pass there from Jack Hankin. And Hassan delivers the corner to the back post. Headed down by Emre into the hands of Wickens. but it's all Galatasaray now. Really not the finish we wanted. They're down to 10 themselves due to an injury. Josh Brownhill goes off after they've made their subs. But Galatasaray win 1-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate, and their Europa Conference run ends at the same stage again. Right, cup final time. Let's see how many players have recovered and how many changes we have to make, bar the one we knew about. And actually, it's just Yesten Weaver again, but I'm going to leave him in. He can have the week off against TNS because we need to win this trophy. It's a big opportunity against an English club as well. So the lineup, just the two changes. Cannell comes in for Williams, who's suspended, and Archie Woods returning from suspension, back in for Harvey Lewid. But the rest of the 11's the same. Port Vale are the opponents. They're flying in the National League. They should be a Football League club again next season. But can we beat them here? It's a big game. It's at St Mirren's ground. It's England v Wales in Scotland. You couldn't write it. It's a magical competition. Now let's go and get into the final. Okay, I'm aware that most of these names won't mean anything to you, but apparently the star player for Port Vale is up front in Nick Dyson. He looks like a fantastic centre forward. Gibbons, the skipper at right back, is very good as well. Nathan Smith, I think, is still the real Nathan Smith, so there's one recognisable name. And other than that, we've just got to focus on our own game. Make sure we're at our best. If we can do that, if we can take our chances, I feel like we can win it again. And after going out the Welsh Cup, we probably need to get some silverware. We were fortunate to win the League Cup final on penalties. The title race is still just about on. So let's see if we can get a final victory here as Gibbons picks it up in the middle to Sabanda. Port Vale on the front foot early on. And let's be honest, we've not played well in the big games this season, especially in the Cups, as Diamond goes back to Sabanda in the middle. Keeps the ball again for Diamond to Gibbons, the skipper. Port Vale are playing round us nicely here. It's a very wide pitch at St Mirren, and that really doesn't suit the way we play as Comey gets in. And with 13 minutes gone, we're behind in yet another cup final. We were 1-0 down to Newtown and got very lucky to get level and win on pens. We went out to Aberystwyth in the cup after a poor start. And we're going down again here. Port Vale the better side, and the wide pitch is really costing us. Though with a quarter of the game gone, we're back with a throw-in on halfway for Hampson. Plays it to Dean, who finds Alzabad. Now can we create our own chance? Archie Woods, into Brooks in midfield, up to Cottrell. Gets it into Max Dean, brilliant finish first time. And I tell you what, the wide pitch might well harm us when we're defending. But when we're going forward, everything is between the width of the box. And Port Vale still couldn't cope with it. 1-1, but we're going to have to watch out for their wingers, because this could be a very long day. Yesten Weaver after half an hour looks cream crackered. Don't know what we're going to do about him, as Weaver throws in from the left to Smith, gives it away, and that's where the width is problematic, because now look how wide our centre-half's been dragged. If we go back to our tactical special, that shows you where the problem is, as Max Dean picks it up from a long hoof clearance. He finds Brooks to Cottrell. Running off him is two strikers, but finds Woods instead. There's two players out wide, but he goes to Cottrell, through to Joe Duffy. Both strikers on the score sheet, some wonderful interchange in football in the middle. And it doesn't matter what tactic you play going forward, because when you're in scintillating form like this, it really does work out. What we've got to be aware of is this though. When we're defending, we're all at sea. We're dragged all over the place. As Sabanda gets the ball inside. Diamond's running off the wing. Gets it to Dyson. Plays a 1-2. Back to Sabanda. Good football so far from Port Vale. And Price picks it up again in the centre circle. Switch to the left for Port Vale. They're having so much success out wide. This time Hampson's caught out. Comey's into the box. Back to Fletcher. And his shot's brilliantly charged down by Alzabad. It should have been 2-2. But the lonely centre-half saved the day. As we reach half-time, we lead 2-1. But it's been a very even match. We're going to tell the lads to prove a point. We're going to try and nick a third on the break. And then we can maybe think about reshaping our tactic. 25 minutes left and there are some very tired legs. I have no idea what we're going to do at left back. Brooks is absolutely shattered too, so he's going to be replaced by Josh Benson. Or in fact, maybe even Harvey Lewid. We'll bring Woods into centre midfield. I was thinking about changing tactic, but going forward we still look very good. I think Yesten Weaver's just going to have to play through it. We don't really have another option. Jack Hankin will come on at right back. Hampson's had a poor game. And with 20 to go, we've got a corner kick with Cannell again. Into the back post. Duffy's header straight at Turner. Did well to hold it in fairness. And it's still all to play for here as Dyson counters down the right wing for Port Vale. Back to Gibbons, the skipper. The pressure's on him, but we're being dragged out of the diamond. And I think we're going to have to change shape. But how are we going to react to that as they're in for 2-2? And it's too late now. Fletcher's equalised. And we've not done enough. We don't deserve to win the game. And this is probably a fair reflection of the match. 11 shots each, 6 on target each. Almost identical expected goals. And now it is. There you go. The stats are exactly even. And with 8 minutes to go, we've got to think about what we can do here. I think I've got to take Cannell off, who shattered and not had the best game. Cottrell will come on for him. And I'm going to chuck Tom Jones on again. Number 10, an opportunity to be a superstar. 3 minutes of stoppage time played. We've got extra time. And I don't know if you saw that very briefly there. Someone's just sitting. He's supposed to be on the bench, I think. But he's sitting on the pitch with an imaginary chair under him. Just there in the background, behind the expected goals chart. Amazing little graphic that. But let's tell the lads to prove a point again. So do we change shape? I think we have to because of the pitch. We're going to get dragged out otherwise. What we're going to do is we're going to put Dean on the right wing. Jones will switch with Cottrell. And then Cottrell will play off the left wing. It's a tactic that we haven't played for years here. In fact, I don't think we've ever played with wingers in any game. But we're just going to try and do something very slightly different to make the most of the pitch. And into extra time, it's 2-2 and we've had to adapt. Let's see what I'm like as a tactician, shall we? As Alzabad plays out from the back from the goal kick. Gets it to Max Dean. The centre forward's dragged out to the right wing, of course. I still don't think we can make those changes as Dean goes all the way. Pressure on him, Sullivan wins it and clears it downfield to Fletcher. What could happen, of course, although we're taking advantage of the pitch now, is we're playing a tactic we've never used and we could be all at sea as Price gets in and proves just that. Now the problem is, no matter what tactic you play, with the same back four, you shouldn't be getting beaten by a straight ball over the centre half. However, that's what's happened, so we've got to own it. Port Vale have been very good. The pitch, okay, has played against us, but we've not been great. And we probably don't deserve a result. We've got 15 minutes to get back into this. We're going to berate them. We're going to go attacking. And we're just going to see if there's anything to come. We've got the better expected goals. We've had far more of the chances. And the only one Port Vale have had in extra time has led to the goal. As Comey throws in from the left-hand side. Woods nicks it. Up to Joe Duffy, who loses out in the air. And this is exactly where they want it with 45 seconds left. No pressure on the wide players again. Comey's delivery loses out in the air. It's headed away as far as the edge of the box to Price. But it's just relentless pressure. 30 seconds to go. We've run out of steam. The hard game against Galatasaray as Fletcher's in again. It's cleared behind for a corner and that will be that. We have got to bear in mind that Port Vale won't have played a team like Galatasaray on Thursday. They probably won't have even played as recently as Tuesday or Wednesday. They've had a minimum of 5 days rest. We've had 2.5, and the last game was a big European one. So there are some mitigating circumstances, but it is another cup final where it's all gone wrong. Port Vale win the SPFL Trust Trophy and end our 2 or 3 year dominance in the competition. The best opposition we've played in a final, and I think that's been reflected in the performance. But Port Vale ended our dominance. We do not win the SPFL Trust Trophy because Bangor City are beaten 3-2 after extra time and Port Vale lift the trophy. An excellent performance from them. Another cup final with a poor performance. So it will be a maximum of 2 competitions this year. But we've got to make sure in the next episode that we wrap up the league title because TNS are pushing us in that one too. So there we go. The SPFL Trust Trophy leaves Wales after 3 successive titles, I want to say, that we'd won previously. No, just 2, sorry. We were the favourites, so you could say it's a disappointment. But as we mentioned, playing Galatasaray 2.5 days before, and the way it went with us chasing the ball a lot of the time, it was always going to be like this in the end, I'm afraid. What it does mean, though, is we have to focus on the pitch because we've got to win the Welsh League. Otherwise, our job's potentially in trouble. If we go and have a look at the schedule, with 5 points clear with 4 games to go, what we're going to be back for, though, is the final 2 games of the season. Hopefully, we can wrap up the title to add to the League Cup. And if we don't, we'll have crisis in terms of our job. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Not the best youth intake either, so a pretty disappointing month in truth. But if you did enjoy the episode, seeing back-to-back defeats for the first time in I don't know how long, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. Turn that notification bell on to stay up to date every time we have a new video or go live for one of our streams. And you can catch up with all the playlists and the podcast channel up in the eye above. There's a link in the description to the Twitch channel as well. We will be starting to stream on there this month. But a happy Easter, a big thanks for watching as always. And I'll see you next time to see if we can wrap up the title. Otherwise, it might be to save our job. We'll wait and see which. I'll see you there.